There are hardly any major industries in the northeast. Tea is an agro-industry rather than a manufacturing one. Oil, paper and fertilizers face a tough time during the floods in the monsoon months. The highways get waterlogged.
The Northeast has never been a place where large-scale processing industries barring tea and to a degree oil and gas have prospered. Tea because it's natural to the region to a degree, and then the British came and they colonized the place. They saw this as a good test of entrepreneurship, plantation crops that had an international market. So they went in for this in a very big way. Oil and gas, again, they started those industries and we've been pursuing them since. But if you look around, you see more than 60 to 70 kilometers of this narrow valley are taken up by the river, its islands, its tributaries, its banks and the floodplains. Now, if that is the case, and 3 to 4 months of the year, the land is covered by water, by the floods, roads are devastated and rail links are devastated by floods and high water. Even in the hills, they're disconnected when landslides and floods take place. So it's very difficult to build anything which is extremely heavy, heavy industries and so on. It won't work.
I feel that a lot of handicrafts, there is a coal also available there. And the handicrafts is one of the skills which is northeastern handicrafts. Things are getting popular now. That can be we can able to see the potential there coming up on there. Anyway, the tea gardens are there. That is one advantage. But when involving the people, artisans, I see as the major thing, which we think that Northeast can able to exploit that. And we can go to any smaller places also to procure those handicrafted items. So Northeast will be a better position on that.
People are forced to do salaried jobs because people do not have skills. People do not have modern training facilities, right? That's why institutions had to be built in the Northeast. If you have 10 good engineering institutions, if you have 5 good management institutions, if you have 10 good medical institutions, then you will see the entrepreneurship growing. Because entrepreneurship and Northeast has a distinct advantage. One great advantage is it has a huge natural resource base. Number 2, it has a human resources. It has human resources which can really take forward the entire economy and economic and social activities. And third important thing is people in the Northeast are very dedicated people, hardworking people, right? So I think given the right kind of institutions, given the right kind of training, capacity building processes, keeping long-term development perspectives in view, I think things will drastically change.
Apart from the trilateral highway, there is also the Kaladan multimodal transit project. This connects Sittwe port in Myanmar with Mizoram by river and road. This would reduce the distance between Sittwe and Kolkata by a good 1,300 kilometers. The project includes the construction of the $120 million deepwater Sittwe port at the mouth of the river, dredging of the Kaladan river to enable cargo vessels to navigate the river from Sittwe to Mizoram, the construction of a river port at Paletwa, as well as the widening and upgradation of highways between Paletwa and Mekwa on the Indo-Myanmar border. The project will open up not only Mizoram but all of India's northeastern states as the hinterland for the Sittwe port. Construction for the port started in 2010. Experts from the northeastern region say India's Look East policy has not helped the northeast as much as it has helped port cities on India's eastern coast, including Chennai.
The bridges across Burma, you need a bridgehead. The question is, what is a bridgehead going to gain? So there's a lot of cynicism about the policy, saying that it really hasn't benefited the Northeast in terms of investment or in terms of opportunities and so on. It's benefited Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. Why? Because they are ports. And it's a policy of the government of India. It's not a policy of the Northeast.
See, it depends on which east you are looking at it. The opportunity is that if you are looking at Southeast Asia, Chennai can be in a port, can be in Israel, because there is 3 days sailing. You will reach out to Kuala Lumpur port, or Malaysian port, or Singapore port, or these are the Indonesian port, takes only 5 days a week. That's why the development takes place. But through these routes, there are many other inland countries in China. See, one of the biggest trade which we feel is the Kunming route to China. Kunming can be a huge Hunan area, it can be a big market for us. That will not be able to, Chennai or Calcutta port will not be able to service them, because it takes a longer route via the sea. This is the quickest possible route to go through. That is why China, these countries are jointly developing these routes to develop this Myanmar route through the northeast. So I feel it has got its own advantage. We cannot say that their advantage is taken by some other ports. They have some advantage which northeast has is they don't have that advantage of this northeast. And the northeast does not have the advantage of what Chennai port has got for certain countries. So I feel it has a potential. The backward linkage has to be good. The road linkage and everything has to be the main road. Then you will see the flow of trade going through that.
Look-East policy, we thought when the Look-East policy was initiated in 1990s, we thought that this is going to be a major precursor to the entire development process. But to a large extent, Look-East policy remained in just theory, one. Secondly, Look-East policy ignored the way to the east, that is the entire northeast. It literally ignored, right? How can you conduct Look-East policy of India from Delhi? Whereas we should have conducted the entire Look-East policy from east of India alone, taking the major agencies that promote Look-East policy to northeast, say Ministry of Foreign Affairs, say Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Communications, Ministry of Textile, so many things, you know. Where are these? Unless and until you take these major agencies that promote Look-East policy to the northeast themselves, then I don't think there's any point discussing Look-East policy, because what you're doing is basically flying over the northeast and reaching east, which is not going to give any kind of effective or long-term results.
But Bangladesh is important in this equation. Routes through Bangladesh and synergies with the nation can improve overall connectivity.
Well, if you go through Bangladesh, there's no connectivity. Now we have that opportunity. You should use the rivers to connect to Chittagong port. You should use railway lines to connect to Chittagong port, which is one of the best seawater ports in the area. Because ultimately, connecting to Southeast Asia, all this stuff will happen by ship. By road and railways, you can carry limited amounts of transport and goods. The world is connected by shipping lanes, not by road links. You can do tourism and stuff like that through roads.
Bangladesh as a market for both for import as well for export is going to be a very big neighbor. You know that we have very few neighbors where we have a big trade going on. And with Pakistan, we don't have much of a trade. We don't have much of a trade with Maldives or Sri Lanka. Also, it's very limited going into the south trade. But Bangladesh can be a very big potential from there. The trade is going to go up there. We have a favorable rates to Bangladesh imports also. So I feel, notwithstanding with the other port other land routes to Bangladesh, the northeast route can also be an additional help to improve the trade from the Bangladesh.
Tourism is one service industry that has huge potential in the northeast. The region is home to a rich heritage of tribal art and culture, and the natural settings of hills, lakes and forests makes it a veritable paradise.
I thought tourism would be one of the major points of intervention. But you see, Government of India did try, say for example LTC, right? Under LTC, anybody traveling to Northeast would get a flight ticket, right? And such kind of provisions are there. But why should people go to Guwahati or to Bagdogra and come back, right? Mere giving LTC will not do. You know, these leave travel concessions will not do. I think what is very critical is to build Northeast as attractive as Bangalore, as attractive as Delhi, right, or as attractive as Mumbai, right? You do a huge film industry there, and this kind of thinking has to come from the people in the Northeast, from the policymakers in the Northeast also. But the initiatives have to go from the Government of India side. And one of the things which Government of India has to do, compulsory do in the Northeast, is this, you know, this psychosis of two security point of, development. You know, everything would depend upon national security issues and all. See, national security has its own place. It is of prime importance for the country, for the people. But when it comes to development and when it comes to really integrating the rest of the country, human security is much more important than national security. Because once you ensure human security, the national security becomes much more easier to ensure, right? And what is critical today is how to balance this issue of national security with the issue of development and human security. And I think this orthodox thinking about national security has to be watered down.
Both the Asian Trilateral Expressway and Kaladan projects are strategically important because they provide the Northeast with important trade routes, both by land and sea. The integration of the Northeast into the economies of the region will enhance trade capabilities with unique affinities, leading to development of hubs and access routes to big markets, including China. That's all we have in this report, the fourth in our series on the Northeast. Thanks for watching and see you again.